guys, how's it going? It's Al. Week 9 is here on DraftKings, and I am going to talk to you about some 5-box running backs this week. And then, since there's only a few of them, I'm going to give you some other top running backs on the week. Now, it's not a rankings list. It's not in order of this is the best points per dollar guy. I tend to look at things through specific lenses that can open up avenues to us. It will open up the avenues of which guys are cash game viable and who are some good players in really good spots who might be underplayed in tournaments to give us some leverage over the field. And those are the 5 boxes that I like to check off. Is a running back playing at home? Are they favored? Do they have inclusion in the passing game? A significant enough role, 12, 15% of the target market share. Do they get those really valuable inside the 5 touches? And are they going to project to get over 20 opportunities on the week? Each one of those things is individually powerful and provides you an expectation over their projected points historically. Back-tested data shows this. When we check off all 5 of those boxes at once, it's a really powerful spot for running backs. And sometimes they're not always cash game backs because their salary doesn't dictate it, but their ceiling is certainly there. So let's take a look this week at my top running backs in NFL DFS. Let's go.
He's a legend.
The Week 8 recap video exists on the Al Smizzle Fantasy Football channel. You can go to smizzle.tv/ff and get subscribed immediately. Every Monday, I come out with the recap video from the previous week. It sits right here, as well as 4 other videos throughout the week to help you out in your friends and family leagues. Family leagues. The quarterback rankings, running back rankings, wide receiver rankings, and then we do a Rainmakers preview every single Friday. So go subscribe to the Al Smizzle Fantasy Football channel today, and make sure that you get into the Smiz Gang Listener League for Week 9. They made it a little bit smaller because the season goes along and people do tend to go away, but you guys have done a great job of filling this all season long. I have no doubt that you will fill it by Saturday night this week, so get your entries in early. It's not available in the lobby. You got to go to smizzle.tv/links. It is a no-rake tournament. Absolutely none. The best tournament that exists on DraftKings right now. 100% of the money that goes in goes back out to the players. I will shout out the top 10 finishers on the recap video on the Fantasy Football channel. $10 to enter, 3 max, no rake. Go to smizzle.tv/ff to get your seat today. We're going to start with Joe Mixon coming off of a subpar game on Monday night against Cleveland. I'm hoping that this is going to hold this percentage down a little bit, as they are massive favorites this week. 8.5 point favorites, total of 44 in this one, team total of 26.5 for Joe Mixon and Cincinnati Bengals. They have to define what they are minus Jamar Chase, and they did not do a good job of that. You cannot just run the same offense when you subtract an elite wide receiver from the outside. What the Bengals attempted to do earlier in this season and all of last year was establish themselves as a running the football sort of team. That plays right into what Joe Mixon can do. Now, they did stay in shotgun a ton last night, and that resulted in 9 targets for Joe Mixon because they were game scripted in that sort of direction. 17 opportunities is great. This week, they're in a different situation at home, favored by 8.5 over Carolina. Joe Mixon checks off every single box. He is at home. They are favored. Does project to get 20 opportunities in this one. Has seen very good usage in the passing game and consistent use in the passing game this season. Does get a ton of inside the 5 carries when they do get in there, and he has not really performed great on them, so his expected touchdown rate is higher than his actual 3 touchdowns that he scored this season. 6,500 on DraftKings is just not enough on this particular slate. There's 6 teams on by: the Browns, the Cowboys, the Broncos, the Giants, the Steelers, and the 49ers. That's a lot of really quality running backs. Christian McCaffrey, Nick Chubb, Saquon Barkley, and more are not going to be on this slate. So Joe Mixon has been at 69, 7,000. We're getting him at a bit of a discount here with very possibly a volume spike in a win-win situation for him against the Panthers. Ramondre Stevenson is 6,200. He just stays at this price range. Like, he's gone down. He's done nothing wrong. He's scored over 20 fantasy points in the 4 games since taking over the lion's share of the work. In the last 3 weeks, he's had no less than 5 targets. In the last 2, 8 targets in each of those 2 games. They square off against Indianapolis now. God, I hope you guys listened to me in the offseason and drafted a whole bunch of Ramondre when he was between 100 and 130 on ADP, because you should be thriving in best ball right now if you did. And hopefully you switch to this early enough to be able to reap the benefits, because once people have waited and seen, we've said the opportunity is gone. Typically what happens when a player piles up this type of numbers, 22.5, 25, 23.5, 21 fantasy points on DraftKings. Their salary goes up. His has gone down to 6,200 in a week with all of those stud running backs off the chart. Like, how do we not play Ramondre at home against Indy? Like, this is a great spot. I absolutely love this spot. Patriots favored by 6. Like, big play upside inside the 5 carries, massive usage in the passing game for quarterbacks that need to check down. So please give me Ramondre at 6,200 as much. Like, all you can eat situation on Ramondre Stevenson. Now, this is the if then of the week. We have no idea what's going on in Arizona. James Conner remains day to day, but then again, aren't we all? He's been day to day since like week 5. So it's week 9. So if Eno Benjamin is the starter, if James Conner is out, then Eno Benjamin fills that 5-box role, probably just short of the 20 opportunities, right? He got 18 here, he got 17 here, he got 16 here, 15 to 20 opportunities. But James Conner, if he comes back, will take over that role as the probably 20 opportunity guy, as we've seen him be that a ton on this team against the Seattle team that has been very giving to opposing running backs. Just monitor this as the week goes along. It's something that you're gonna have to take a look at, and if you wanted to stay as informed as entirely possible, make sure that you join the Discord. You can become a channel member here on YouTube by going to smizzle.tv/join. If you don't see the big bright join button right next to the subscribe button on the channel, go to smizzle.tv/join. I think it's an iPhone thing. You get access, if you pay the $5 a month here to become a channel member on YouTube, to all of the VIP channels in Discord, the biggest value add that I can give to you with the subscription on YouTube. So jump in, become a member of the community. We have like 7,000 people in our partner Discord talking in the VIP channels constantly about all of the different strategies for not just NFL, but NBA, not just cash games, but tournaments, anything that you want to surround yourself with so you don't feel as isolated as DFS can make you feel. Leonard Fournette is the next play. Now, look, I get it if you're not buying this one, right? Total of 42 in this game. Both offenses not what they were before because their offensive lines have failed them on both sides. The Buccaneers offense looks extremely slow at pretty much every spot. The only reliable player for them right now seems to be Mike Evans. Leonard Fournette playing a few less snaps, but still getting over 65% of the snaps and touches at running back while they kind of spell him with Rachaad White from time to time. 6,600 for somebody who's going to be involved in the passing game is certainly fair. They've been playing from behind, so he's been scripted out a little bit. In games that they've been seen more snaps from ahead, he's definitely exceeded that 20 opportunity expectation. But over Rachaad White, he is still getting all of the inside the 5 carries in this spot, so major touchdown upside if they can move the ball against the Los Angeles Rams. They are at home. You can fade Fournette if you want to. I think that he's not going to be a cash game play, but I think he makes for a very good tournament play this week if the percentage in the Millionaire Maker or whatever tournament you're playing in is low enough. He definitely still has that 22 to 35 point upside in him. Getting to a couple of backs who are not 5-box running backs. I got 3 of them for you. Austin Eckler is the most expensive back on the board because of all of the players who are off the slate. I mentioned all of the guys who are off the slate based on bye weeks, but we also have Alvin Kamara off the slate because of Monday night. Derrick Henry is in Kansas City on Sunday night, and the Eagles play the Texans, so no Pierce and no Miles Sanders. I know Miles Sanders isn't the same class as those other guys, but like anybody who plays against Houston is essentially a superstar running back this year. So Austin Eckler at 8,800 isn't impossibly priced. You're basically getting a wide receiver 1 and a running back 1 all wrapped up into one roster spot. So like 4,400 for that RB1 and 4,400 for that wide receiver 1. That seems to be a bargain. I'll take it. 8,800 if you can fit him, if we find enough value. And I do think that this week the trade deadline's not over and the trades are flying fast and furious. Before we went live with this one, TJ Hawkinson already got dealt. Chase Claypool already got dealt. And then obviously it's week 9 of the NFL, so there's always going to be injuries. I think that we're going to find more value, more playable value at running back this week by the time Friday gets here when we do the lineup builder show. So look out for that video. But if we do, Austin Eckler becomes a lot easier to pay up and get to around 1 or 2 of those other 6K running backs that we mentioned before. Travis Etienne Jr., one of the 6K running backs I had not mentioned yet. He is in a stellar situation just based on usage right now. Las Vegas also just gave up an awful lot of yards, an awful lot of catches, and 3 touchdowns to a running back who comps on skill set a lot like Travis Etienne and Alvin Kamara. They're not utilizing him the same way in Jacksonville that they utilize Kamara. We need to see him get 6 targets a game is what we need. I don't need this. They're kind of utilizing him right now as though he was Cordero Patterson circa 2021, when late in the season they increased Cordell Patterson's snaps, but all of those increase in snaps did not translate to an increase in targets. In fact, his targets decreased, and they utilized him more as just a between the tackles pounder. I don't like it, like, at all. I would rather they gave Travis Etienne, with his big playability on the ground, this like 11 to 16 carries, but give him 6 and 8 targets a game. That would be absolutely just chef's kiss perfect if we could work that out, because 24 and 3, the volume's great. 27 opportunities is always fine, right? But like, they're not favored in this spot, which is why he's not a 5-box running back. He doesn't check that one, but the other 4 certainly there for us, as well as we get the big splash ability with a 48 or more yard run in each of the last 3 weeks. You can extend that back to the game against Houston when he busted off a 30-yard run. Also, really big possibilities in the pass game if they would just throw him the ball and not treat him like he's Derrick Henry. Okay, please, like, max him out at like 17, 18 carries, but get him more touches in the passing game, and he would be the absolute perfect PPR monster for us for the second half of the season. Wrapping up the video, we have Josh Jacobs, leaving everybody with a sour taste in their mouth. You know what he was? Josh Jacobs is a diet soda. So like, you take the first couple sips of the diet soda and it's delicious. 37 fantasy points, 33 fantasy points, 39 points. Oh, that's great. I love this stuff. And then you get that aftertaste. 7.4 points against New Orleans on the road where they got shut out. Not great. Not what we want. 7,300, price came down. He gets Jacksonville. They're on the road. They are favored in this spot. And these guys are very competitive super soldiers. That's what NFL players are. If you don't think every single player on this Raiders offense is not taking that performance in New Orleans personally, you got another thing coming. They are going to want to get out here and establish themselves, reestablish themselves, right the ship, if you will. They are proud individuals, and rightfully so. I could see them coming out here and trying to have a statement game against a Jacksonville team that has not been very good, although they do have a good defensive line. They're very talented on the defensive side of the ball. When you're bad for a long time, you get a lot of high draft picks, so you get a lot of athletes on the defensive side of the ball. So like, hopefully Josh Jacobs has a rebound spot, because a lot of signs are pointing to yes here, and I like the salary dip. I also like these coming off of a bad game, which should hold his percentage down as well. So thank you guys for watching. Look out for another video right there.
He's a legend.